Hey guys, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Lord of the Rings What If topic video for today. And today, we got a long one on our hands regarding the main character in the Lord of the Rings mantra, Frodo Baggins. And this is going to be a very in-depth and sort of short one. I'll explain more. The what if is, what if Frodo, when he got stabbed by the Nazgul, became a RingWraith like them? How would this impact the story? Well, most of the story would go paranormal, as I kind of pointed out whenever I just said what I said earlier. But there would be decent enough changes. Some changes, most of the story remaining the same. And with the main character out of the way, that would make for someone else to have to make a journey to destroy the ring, but I'll explain more as we get into it. Let's set the scene. So, we open up a little past the beginning of the first movie, Fellowship of the Ring, where Frodo gets stabbed by the Nazgul, and this time is unfortunately not able to be saved and is turned into a RingWraith, just like the Nazgul. Now, what would happen after this? Well, since Gandalf, well, he wasn't there, but since everybody knew about the RingWraiths, the ring would immediately be taken away. Frodo would still be taken to Rivendell and everything with them to see if there was a way to fix him. Anyway, story goes paranormal after that, but Frodo wakes up, but it is not Frodo Baggins any longer. This is Frodo the RingWraith in a shadowy world / the real world, with Gandalf still there watching him to see if somehow, someway he got back to normal. But the ring is not on him this time, for one particular obvious and important reason. Because of the RingWraith's subjugation to Sauron, the Dark Lord, essence of the ring and such, and wanting to get it for him, Lord Elrond and Gandalf decided that the ring must be taken away from Frodo immediately before he wakes up. Because if not, he's gonna just go ahead to frickin' Mordor and just give the ring to Sauron. And Elrond could not let that happen, and Gandalf agreed. There was no talking to Frodo this time, unfortunately. The Frodo Baggins that they all knew was long gone, despite trying their best to find a way to fix him. But it seemingly seemed impossible. Frodo was too far gone. The minute that he sees that the ring is not in his possession, he knows immediately that he must get it. This Frodo is uncontrollable, responding to no types of commands or questions or any kind of compassion. All he knows how to do is show complete and utter loyalness to Sauron the Dark Lord, and immediately tries to get the ring. But unfortunately, it's too late, and he is killed. Because there's no other way to stop him, unfortunately. Aragorn feels responsible at this because he felt like he failed Frodo in his time of need, and ultimately wants to take the ring. But whenever the Fellowship is called after Frodo's unfortunate demise, Samwise actually steps up because he feels responsible, because he was asked to never leave Frodo's side, and he feels responsible for the death of Frodo. Bilbo Baggins, who's at Rivendell, also departs the loss of his kin. And when the Fellowship is called together, they all mourn the loss, real quick, of the loss of Frodo Baggins, the Hobbit. But the Fellowship is still created, with Samwise being the one to hold the ring for himself. Now, you might ask if this is a smart idea on the part, and if this is just going to be the complete same story. I'll get to that. The whole story after that point goes exactly the same. Like I said, with Frodo Baggins the RingWraith unfortunately having to be taken out, even so, the Fellowship of the Ring would still pretty much go per normal, just without Frodo. Gandalf would still defeat the Balrog, and everything would go per normal up until the point where they're all getting off the boat and setting camp. But Sam, he still goes off on his own like Frodo did. Not because of the bear of having to get the ring himself, well, partly, because I still feel like that influence would still infect him somewhat, but because the mindset that he's feeling right now, failing Frodo, is still affecting him. He just wants to do it alone. Boromir, I feel, would still try to take the ring, but it would be much more of a fight, because here's the reason why I think Sam would be best equipped to get the ring instead of Frodo. Because Sam had a great mindset with that kind of stuff. If he had taken the ring instead of Frodo, Boromir, this would be more of a fight, ultimately probably snapping Boromir out of it, or he would just kill him. Either or. Anyway, I'll explain more in a little. The Uruk-hai still come. That sequence goes to sound per normal. Boromir is still unfortunately killed, and Samwise goes off on his own. And like I was explaining earlier, I just feel like Sam, he wouldn't let the ring's influence affect him as greatly as Frodo. When Gollum played something tricky, Sam knew right away something was up. Frodo just didn't want to give. So that's why I thought that Sam was best equipped. But anyway, Fellowship of the Ring ends pretty much the same, except Sam goes off on his own. Now, does Gollum still become a problem? Well, yes. But whenever he tries to take the ring in the night, it's only Sam to try and stop him. And Sam didn't play around. At the first opportunity, I feel like Sam would just kill Gollum. And if Gollum pleaded for him to spare his life, but still tried something tricky, which I know he would, there would be no possible chance that Gollum would live here. So Sam would be off on his own. No Gollum, no Frodo, and yeah, he would just be all on his own. The first part of the Two Towers plays out per normal. Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli all go to search for Merry and Pippin, and eventually come across Gandalf, who had survived, Gandalf the White. And everything goes the same, with all of them going to Rohan, because they know about Sam going off on his own. Now, here's something that's going to confuse the crap out of you. Sam gets to Mordor basically in the middle of the Two Towers movie, and gets to Mount Doom. And you guys are probably like, hold up! How does this happen? How in the world could Sam possibly manage this? Well, there's a few reasons. One, with no Frodo or anything, he has much more provisions on him and much more food and stuff. Two, there's no Gollum to trick him to going a different way, and yeah, it's much more easier. I'll explain more in a little. Anyway, Sam basically gets to Mount Doom a lot easier, and by not being affected by the ring's influence as greatly as Frodo, throws the ring in the fire, no problem, gets it done. And the Eagles save his life, and everything goes good. Now, to explain a little bit more in depth for you people who are confused as crap as to why I did this, it's not to rush the video. No. I told you this would be in depth. Anyway, like I said, without Gollum leading him to the Winding Stair and Shelob, and especially being on his own, and having more provisions, Sam would be able to get the job done a lot easier. This is why I think that Sam getting the ring would honestly be for the better, instead of Frodo. It would make things a lot better. Now, I feel like this would happen like Sam would get the ring there right about the time that the Helm's Deep people were getting ready to fight the army. But they would never have to, because the army would all die at that very moment, and Gandalf would know that the mission had been complete. Samwise had completed his journey. Now, unless Saruman's tower fell and he died, Saruman would still be a threat, with Sauron now dead. But I feel like Gandalf could just take him, or just bring some people with him to try and change his ways. But ultimately, I think that Gandalf and, maybe Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. In that one deleted scene of the Return of the King, if you've seen the deleted scene on YouTube of the first movie, I feel like he would just die. Anyway, all this might have happened had Frodo became a ringwraith and died before the adventure began. And that's where we end things. Now, like I said, you guys might be thinking that I rushed through this. Nope. I simply just went through the idea of seeing Samwise get the ring. Now, I could have just made this into a what if about that entirely, but Frodo is out of the picture here. It would be different if he were with him, but no. Sam is actually on his own this time, and like I said, mostly all of the Lord of the Rings up until the middle of the Two Towers would go exactly the same, albeit from Sam's adventures being different than him and Frodo's together. With no Gollum to trick him, he could get to Mordor effectively sneaking a good way, and I feel like the adventure would be over a movie earlier. But what do you guys think? Do you think something like this could have happened? What do you think could have happened had Frodo actually became a ringwraith? Leave a comment. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.